a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That fella bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Toadstool Sports. It is Monday, June 29th. I have to have the Red Sox hat on after they won 4 games in a row for the first time this season, which they'll never do it again, and they happen to do it against the hated Yankees, so I'm happy about that at least. 0-3 on the show. Yes, I don't even know what to. We're on an 0-7 run. Do not listen to anything that I have to say right now. Don't. The under should have been correct in Seattle, Cleveland. That was a 4-1 game in the 8th inning. Looked pretty good. No, and then Seattle's bullpen, which is the better bullpen, completely implodes. What can you even say about that? You can't predict that. And I believe the game went over in the first 5, too, because the line was probably 3.5, and I think it was at 4 at that point. That game, that should not have been a loser. The over in the other game was probably a correct loser. I was wrong about it. It was correct that we lost it. The Angels hit the Angels hit a grand slam in the second inning, so it was 4-0. Really early, so it was actually looking pretty good. Alcantara pitched way better than I thought that he would have, so that's really what kind of ruined that play. And then the bullpens actually didn't do bad either, which, I mean, how do you predict that Anaheim and the A's combine, like that their bullpens combined to allow no runs or 1 run or whatever it was? I mean, come on. And then the WNBA game was complete fucking bullshit. I'm so sick of the fucking WNBA. After being 5-0 to start the season, we take 2 bullshit losses. And now we have another bullshit loss yesterday. Chicago, they had like 14 more field goal attempts than Vegas did in the game, and they couldn't even cover a +7. If you have double-digit field goal attempts more than your opponent, and I think they won the rebound battle too, or at least it was close, you don't lose that game by margin. You don't do it. It's just almost impossible. Vegas was getting all the calls. Vegas went to the line at least 32 times. They went to the free throw line. They had more than double the free throw attempts that Chicago did. And Vegas also shot like more than 50% from the field. And I think they hit almost half of their threes. There's nothing you could do about that. That was the correct handicap on that game. And it looks like it was not even close to being right. Although Chicago wound up only being 1 point away from the cover at the end. But if you look at the stats, it was just it was complete bullshit in like every way. Chicago did enough to win that game outright, like let alone cover, based on the statistics. I'm so fucking pissed about that. That was not the incorrect call at all. I have no voice. I can't speak. I can't say anything. McAdoo, I don't know why you're here. Why would anybody want to listen to me? I don't know what to do with my voice. I'm going to talk about baseball. I don't even want to do this. It's Monday. There are 13 baseball games, and usually there are like 7 on Monday. Monday usually gives you a bunch of good spots at least because teams are changing venues, changing series. You can get some situations set up, but I don't like any of them except for one. I'm going to give out one baseball play. I'm going to give out a World Cup play, too, and that's probably going to be a loser, even though 5-1 on the show in the World Cup. So maybe I should be giving out more World Cup plays, even though I don't know anything about it. all evening baseball. White Sox Baltimore is the first series. I don't know how I'm going to get my voice back, by the way. Baltimore is staying at home off of losing to Washington. The White Sox are traveling in from playing at home against Kansas City. What did I tell you, Zach, yesterday? I told you the Royals could win that game, and they did. So the White Sox are coming off of a loss yesterday. Usually it's a good spot in your first game of the road trip, though, because usually you are focused, especially coming off a bad loss. So the spot looks fine for the White Sox here, even though they're at a travel disadvantage. Baltimore used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. White Sox used a bunch. They used 5. I don't like either bullpen here. Baltimore's ranked 15th in whip. White Sox are ranked 20th, although I think the White Sox are actually the better bullpen here, but they're less rested. I would not put much weight into either bullpen here. I would not rely on them. The White Sox, where are they at hitting-wise? They're somewhere up near the top. Yeah, they're number 6. White Sox are the better offense. Orioles, 15th. That's arranged by OPS. White Sox look like they have a starting pitching advantage here as well. Sean Burke pitching for them, 3.71 ERA, 1.21 whip. Not bad. He is good on the road, 3.06 road ERA. Really good in his last 2 starts, one against the Yankees, which is pretty impressive on the road. And then less impressively, he was pretty dominant against Cleveland last time out as well. I gave out a winner on the show, believe it or not, in that game on an under in the first 5, I think. But full game also would have been correct. Whatever. Back when I was actually making winning plays, Burke against Baltimore has good numbers in 39 at-bats, 154 average, 481 OPS, 11-5 strikeout walk ratio, so he does match up pretty well here. He's going up against a guy that has the same initials as him, Shane Baz. Baz, this does not look as good for him. 4.31 ERA, 1.38 whip. His whip is definitely too high. He's slightly worse at home, 4.41 home ERA, so the home road splits favor Sean Burke here. Baz hasn't been that bad over the last month plus, though. He's mostly allowing pretty few runs in these games. He did allow 5 last time out at Anaheim, but Anaheim, hitter-friendly park, and he still had 5 strikeouts, 1 walk there. So Baz, his command numbers have been better over this past month or so. He's gotten his walk number down. It's still kind of an issue, though. His hit rate is still too high, slightly. His walk rate is still a bit too high. His strikeout rate is not great. Usually he strikes out more guys than this. I still don't know how trustworthy he really is, even if he is pitching a little bit better right now. Numbers against the White Sox, not good. Only in 15 at-bats, though, so not a huge sample here. 467 average, 1356 OPS, 4-3 strikeout walk ratio. That is not great, so I have to lean to the White Sox here. You're getting them as an underdog here, and I think they might have the better bullpen, too. I think they do have the better starting pitcher here. First 5 maybe makes more sense if you want to just isolate the starting pitching matchup and not have to trust either bullpen. White Sox first 5 makes sense. You'll get them as an underdog here. Baltimore's minus 130 something on the full game. 51% of tickets, 67% of the cash on Baltimore. Money is back in Baltimore. I have no idea why. Total is getting money on the over. The total is high at 9. That's kind of a high total, man. I don't know. Bookmakers seem to be kind of disrespecting both starting pitchers there. I'm not so sure about that. My lean would be to the White Sox slightly. Saab, what's up? Netherlands and Morocco draw. I don't agree with that. I'm gonna talk about that. I don't like the draws in these knockout games either, but Ivory Coast, what is that? That's tomorrow. I haven't looked at that game yet. I probably I don't know about that. I'd have to look at that match. I don't know. No, there's no reasoning to that. Just because it's a new month, that means absolutely nothing. It's just completely arbitrary. No. And also, we're getting into the dog days of baseball where I typically start doing bad in baseball. July and August are some of my worst months in baseball. So do not listen to anything that I have to say here at all. Next game up is my only baseball play of the day. Dude, I can't talk. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this video. I don't know what's going on with my voice. I don't know when it's coming back. Like, I need to not do this show. Like, I need to just not do the show for probably at least a week to try to get my voice back. I can't do this. Pittsburgh first 5 is my only baseball play here. I think we have multiple things going for us in this game. This is a situational spot. Plus, I like the starting pitching matchup here. I will exclude the bullpens, though, because I don't like Pittsburgh's bullpen enough. They used only 2 guys yesterday, though Philadelphia did use 5. So if you want to go full game here, you could do that. And you get, you get a cheaper price. But Pittsburgh is the 22nd ranked bullpen. I don't want to back them here. Philadelphia is 12th in bullpen, so their bullpen is okay. But I'm looking at the situation, first of all. Philadelphia is returning home from a road trip. Although they only were in their division. I know they went to Washington and New York, whatever. But this is still, it's a road trip return spot nonetheless. They've been away for a week. So, I like to fade teams returning home from road trips. Usually it's a distracted spot. You have to get back to home life. Now, maybe they do pay attention to Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh's been a decent team. But Pittsburgh's at 500 right now, so they might be overlookable here. And Philadelphia's got a better record than that. So Philadelphia's way above 500 now, so they might overlook Pittsburgh at this point. Pittsburgh, I think they consider themselves to be the little brother here in the state of Pennsylvania, so I think this series means more to them. Pittsburgh salvaged the last game of the Cincinnati series yesterday. They're starting a road trip, which is a focus spot. I like to play on teams starting a road trip against a team returning from one because I think you get a situational advantage by doing that. And I like the starting pitching here. We're going to back Braxton Ashcraft for Pittsburgh here. He's still going under the radar, dude. Like, Pittsburgh has Skeens and whatever. Nobody talks about Ashcraft, but he's got a 3.07 ERA, 1.09 whip. He's, like, clearly their best pitcher besides Skeens. He's been better on the road slightly, too, 2.93 road ERA. I know Philadelphia is better at hitting at home, but I think Ashcraft can handle them here. He's given up 2 or fewer runs in 3 straight outings now. One was at the A's stadium, so that's pretty impressive because that is a stadium where pitchers usually do not do well. And I'm pretty sure I gave out Pittsburgh as a play in that game too. So that was another win. Back in better days on the show. Ashcraft had double-digit strikeouts last time out against Seattle. Only allowed 1 run. That's some pretty good stuff right there too. He's been good, man. He's allowed more than 2 earned runs only once since late April. Overall, low hit rate for him, pretty low walk rate too, and a high strikeout rate. So he's got all good numbers across the board here. Numbers against Philadelphia, they're not fantastic, but I'm still going to back him here. 29 at-bats against them, 276 average, 736 OPS. That's still below that, OPS threshold that I like to look at. He's only allowed 2 extra base hits to them, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. Ashcraft is also better now than he has been previously in his career. I believe he also did pitch once early in the season against Philly, and he did okay. Where is that game? That was in mid-May. He allowed 4 runs in 6 2/3 innings there, but he had 5 strikeouts, no walks, so he was actually pretty good there. He got a little bit unlucky to allow 4 runs in that one. He's going up against Aaron Nola, who just seems like he has not been able to recover from coming back from injury, man. So I think Nola is fadeable, even though you're going to look at his historical numbers, and they look good because he's been good throughout his career. But you look at his numbers coming back from injury, he's been way worse. This season's been pretty bad. 5.58 ERA, 1.45 whip, not good. He's worse at home, too, 5.82 home ERA. So we're going to be on the right side of his home road splits here. I know he looks like he's been okay recently. He had an okay start last time out against Washington. That's good, I guess, because Washington's, a pretty good offense. But his other only good starts recently were against the Mets and San Diego. So, those are terrible offenses, literally the bottom 2 offenses in baseball. So that doesn't impress me. So I don't consider him to be in good form here, even though his strikeout rate has gone up. So that is at least a decent sign. He hasn't really been walking that many guys. But still, I don't like what we're seeing here. His hit rate's still too high. Strikeout rate is actually high, though, so that is maybe a sign that his stuff is kind of still there somewhere. Walk rate is fine, I guess. His numbers against Pittsburgh, they're not going to be that bad. They're really actually kind of similar to Ashcraft's here in this matchup, although Nola's allowed a lower 244 batting average with a similar 739 OPS. He hasn't exactly dominated Pittsburgh here. They have 119 at bats against him, 40 strikeouts, but 24 of those are Ozuna and 7 walks. So he does have decent numbers here against them, but nothing excellent. And the way he's pitching right now, I don't trust him. Plus the situation. I like Pittsburgh. That was the best I could find on the board today. Money seems like it definitely agrees with me here. Philadelphia's got 65% of the tickets on them. Public is going to back Philadelphia, dude, because they don't know who Ashcraft is still. They're going to back the team with a better record in Philly, and I'm not going to do that. 89% of the tickets on Pittsburgh. The full game is around a pick'em price, so if you wanted to go full game on this, you could do that. Pittsburgh, I don't trust their bullpen, though. That's the problem. Even though they do have a bullpen rest advantage here, at least. Money's also backing the over 8.5 there, but I don't have a good feel for the total in that one. So I like Pittsburgh, though. That's what we're going to do in that one. I forgot to go over Burke's season-long numbers, by the way, for the White Sox, but whatever. He's got a low hit rate. His walk rate's slightly high, and his strikeout rate's right around 9/9, so he's been pretty decent. Texas and Cleveland is an ESPN game. I don't really know why. I think this was supposed to be Jacob deGrom pitching in the game for Texas, and it looks like they pushed him back. I don't know if they're just giving him extra rest because he's old. I don't know what they're doing, but it's not going to be deGrom. Like, this was going to be an awesome pitching matchup with deGrom and Messick, and now it's not. And Texas looks like they're going with a bullpen game here, so that doesn't look as good. Cleveland is staying at home. They just beat Seattle over the weekend. Texas is coming in from sweeping Toronto. So Texas, not a horrible travel spot here for them, and they do have momentum. So not really a situational edge that I can really see here for either team. Cleveland used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Texas has the better bullpen. They only used 2. Texas is ranked 9th in bullpen right now. Their ERA is higher than I would think that it would be. I think that will go back down a bit. Cleveland is 18th now. Their bullpen ERA has been creeping up a little bit, but they're still a decent bullpen. Texas is better, though. Neither offense has been very good. Texas is 18th, though, tied with the Marlins. Cleveland is 28th. Really been struggling, especially without Jose Ramirez. Texas is going with a bullpen game now. Like I said, it will not be deGrom. It's going to be Tyler Alexander, who does have a pretty solid stash here. He's not that good, though. He's a relief pitcher. He's in his 30s. He's got a decent ERA, but his whip is too high. I don't really have a whole lot to say about him because he's only going to give you 1 inning probably. I think he's going to be an opener. And then Texas is probably going to just go full bullpen game here, it looks like to me. Because I think deGrom just got pushed back to tomorrow. It looks like it'll be deGrom tomorrow. So Texas just decided to rest him another day or whatever. So, bullpen game from them, and they're going up against Parker Messick. So, Cleveland definitely has a starting pitching advantage here. Messick has been solid, 2 points better than solid, 2.67 ERA, 1.05 whip. He's been a little bit worse at home, 2.89 ERA, still obviously good. 19 strikeouts in his last 2 starts in 13 2/3 innings, pretty good against Milwaukee and the White Sox. So he was facing some decent offenses there and still did really well. Messick is definitely in good form again over those last couple starts. He's got a really low hit rate. His walk rate is pretty low as well. Strikeout rate is also high. So again, he's good across the board here. His numbers against Texas, they're going to be good. I mean, Texas's offense isn't very good, although they're better on the road. Actually, Messick, his numbers are getting skewed because he's allowed 2 home runs to them. They only have 17 at-bats against him. Those are the only extra base hits against him, are those 2 home runs from Higashioka and Seager. He's held them to a 235 batting average, though. But because of those 2 home runs, 866 OPS. But I'm not going to put much weight into that. I think the home runs are a little bit fluky. 3 strikeouts, 1 walk there. Messick, I mean, on the season, he's only allowed 9 home runs, so he's not a guy that gets bombed by the long ball. So I think more than likely Messick should pitch well here. Even though Texas actually does hit a little bit better on the road, I would have to lean to Cleveland here. I think they have the starting pitching edge. I think because Texas is going with a full bullpen game, I think that kind of eliminates their bullpen advantage a bit too. So I think Cleveland full game makes sense to me in this one. Money line makes sense if you're getting below minus 150. Usually minus 150 is my cutoff, and then I usually start looking at making a run line bet or something like that. Like part of it on the run line, part of it on the money line. Cleveland's around minus 140 something here. If you can get it in that price range, it makes sense to me, I think, to play Cleveland on the money line here. 56% of tickets, 66% of the cash on Cleveland. Their offense is definitely worrisome, though. This series looks like it's going to be a series where we could get some unders. I would not want to do it here. I was thinking under with DeGrom and Messick, but given this pitching matchup, yeah, I can't really go with the under here. But it could be an under. I mean, Cleveland does still play a lot of low-scoring games. This series looks like it's going to make for some low-scoring baseball, and the total is 7.5 here. So odds makers are kind of telling you that as well. All right, Detroit and the Yankees. Yankees are in a bad spot. They're returning home from the road. They went to Detroit and, of course, Boston, and they got swept in Boston. So I'm happy about that, obviously. And if you didn't see last night's game, it was insane. If you had the under in last night's game, by the way, you took one of the worst beats that you'll ever see in baseball. They have to get rid of the ghost runners, whatever. That was a game where there was literally one hit in the game, I think, through the first 6 or 7 innings. The Red Sox had one hit, and Sonny Gray took a no-hitter into the 8th inning of that game. So there was literally one hit in the first, basically 7 innings of the game, and the game wound up going over. It's just absolutely insane. It is absolutely insane that happened. Gray lost his no-hitter in the 8th inning. He did really well in the game. Red Sox obviously then went to Chapman. He didn't have his best stuff. He was pitching on his second straight night. But Wilyer Abreu, I don't know what happened in that game. If you guys saw that game, the Red Sox had a 2-0 lead in the 9th inning. Chapman on the mound. He put a couple of guys on base. He was a little bit wild. But the Red Sox fielding just totally imploded. I don't know what happened there. It was they had a fly ball out to right field, which I think was the first out of the inning. Wilyer Abreu, it was runners on first and second. Abreu, who is a Gold Glove winning right fielder, made the catch, and then he made the worst throw you'll ever see. I don't know who he was throwing it to. He threw it to nobody. He just threw it up like somewhere between third base and home plate. Didn't even throw it towards the base or towards the fielder. I don't know what he was doing, and nobody fielded it, and both runs scored for the Yankees to tie the game. Absolutely ridiculous. So it wasn't all on Chapman, even though he put those two guys on. He might have been able to battle out of that inning still. I don't know what that was. So I'm thinking the Red Sox just lost this game, even though they were winning the game 2-0, and their starter had a no-hitter into the 8th inning. And by the way, the Red Sox did something historic as well, I guess, during the series. I think the Yankees, for the first time since like the early to mid 1900s, had been held to, I think they had no hits in the first 4 innings of 3 games in a row or something like that. So this Red Sox starting pitching has been really, really good, even without Crochet. But the Red Sox offense has been an issue. Their fundamentals have been an issue. Looked like the fundamentals were going to implode them again in that game. But the Red Sox battled out of that last inning there, went into the extra innings now. Ghost runner. Wilyer Abreu makes another bad play in the top of the 10th, where he looked like he was going to make a catch, and it was going to be a difficult catch, but he had it. It was like a shoestring catch. He had it in his glove, and he didn't catch it. He dropped it. That was he's a Gold Glove fielder. That's a catch that you expect that he's going to make it, even though it's a difficult catch. He had it in his glove, dropped it. So then the Yankees wound up scoring an extra run because of that. So they put up 2 in the top of the 10th. It's 4-2. I'm like, the Red Sox just blew this fucking game because, of course, it's the fucking Red Sox. But no, the Yankees go into the bottom of the 10th, and what happens? The Red Sox, they're able to play some small ball. The Yankees make some fielding mistakes. Red Sox have some small ball going on. Yankees fielding has made some mistakes during this series, too. Jazz Chisholm wasn't even in there because he actually got ejected late in the game for arguing balls and strikes. You probably saw that meme with the umpire camera with Chisholm in his face. I hate that guy, Chisholm. He's such a dipshit. He sucks at fielding, too. He's just not good. Anyway, Red Sox wind up taking advantage of the fielding mistakes in the bottom of the 10th. They play the small ball, and they wind up winning the game. And my man, Jarren Duran, maybe breaks out of his slump with a game-winning RBI single. It was a situation where the Yankees brought everybody into the infield, though, because any ball that made it into the outfield was going to score the winning run, because it was one out with Yoshida on third, I'm pretty sure. So at that point, you're like, holy shit, the Red Sox might actually win this game. Don't fuck this up. All you had to do is put this ball somewhere and play into the outfield. And there you go, Jarren Duran line drive into the outfield. And then they win the game anyway. The game was insane. I'm happy about it. I'm not expecting the Red Sox to do a whole lot here. But after all that, my point is this is not a good spot for the Yankees. Coming off that crazy game yesterday, a huge rivalry series, and a return home spot. So my feeling on this was I'd be looking to fade the Yankees here. Detroit, though, they're a really bad road team. Detroit not good on the road at all. Detroit is starting a road trip here, though, off of some bad losses. They did just lose a series to the Yankees at home before the previous series, so there may be a little bit of revenge on the mind of Detroit here, and maybe the Yankees don't take them as seriously. Although every game in that series was close, though. Detroit's losses in that series were by 1 and 2. And a lot of those games were low scoring, but that's kind of where I wound up landing on this. I actually like the under in this game more than the side. I think both bullpens are capable. The Yankees used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. You'd think they would have used more in a game like that last night. They did use a couple of their best pitchers, though. So they might not be available tonight. Detroit used 4 relief pitchers. Yankees, I think, still have the edge in the bullpen. They're ranked 6th. They have one of the best bullpen ERAs still. Bullpen ERA doesn't get like the ghost runner doesn't count towards your ERA. It's all just it's so ridiculous, dude. I mean, it's not an earned run. So again, it's just stupid baseball. It's not even baseball. The ghost runner, fuck that. Detroit 16th in bullpen, but their ERA has gone down recently. So these bullpens are not bad. Yankees are down to number 3 in offense now. Oh man, the Pittsburgh overtook them. Yankees have the better hitting, though, obviously. Detroit is 20th. But I look at the starting pitching. Casey Mize for Detroit, I think he's not bad. I mean, his numbers do look good. 2.95 ERA. 1.07 whip indicates that ERA is not really misleading. He's not as good on the road, though. 4.13 road ERA, so that does concern me a little bit with him, that he might have a difficult time a little bit in the Bronx. He just pitched against the Yankees in his last start in that previous series. He wasn't great in that start. They wound up only losing the game by 1 run. He gave up all 4 runs that they allowed, so the bullpen was completely clean behind him, but he allowed 4 runs in 5 2/3 innings. Got hit around a little bit, but his command was still there. He had 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. So you look at that pitching line, that isn't really that bad. Like, his stuff looks like it was still there. Mize on the season has 1 strikeout per inning. That's not bad. Low hit rate, low walk rate, not bad at all. His numbers against the Yankees, as I pointed out when he made that last start, are actually pretty good. 222 average, allowed 644 OPS, which now includes that previous start. 63 at-bats, 18-5 strikeout walk ratio. So Mize does have the ability to pitch well here. I think he might. Yankees, they're in a return home spot. So even though the Yankees are one of the highest scoring home teams in baseball, I think maybe the highest scoring, returning home and coming off a big series like that can kind of hurt you. You know what I mean? And by the way, facing the Red Sox really damaged the Yankees' offensive numbers. The Yankees in their OPS, they dropped from like 770 something to 749 during that Red Sox series. So Red Sox pitching is good. Yankees are going with Ryan Weathers here, who is not their best pitcher, obviously. He's not bad, though. 3.95 ERA, 1.14 whip. He is better at home. 3.52 home ERA. So the home road splits favor Weathers in this matchup. Weathers was good last time out against Detroit. He allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings. That was not the Mize game, I don't think. I think that was one of the other games, but I might be wrong about that. He was good, though. He had 6 strikeouts, 2 walks in 6 innings. He was good the start before that against the White Sox. Struggled 3 starts in a row prior to that, though. Weathers, though, overall, he's got a low hit rate, low walk rate, high strikeout rate, so his numbers are pretty good here. He looks like he does well against Detroit. It is tougher for the pitcher to have to face the same lineup twice in a row, though, because that lineup might make adjustments to that first time and be able to hit the pitcher better, but he's been pretty dominant against Detroit in 37 at-bats, 11 strikeouts, 2 walks, 189 average allowed, 474 OPS. So I think this game is an under. Like I said, I think that's the way to look at this game. Probably full game because the bullpens are all right. At least you are getting 7.5 on this. I know the Yankees did use Bednar and Cruz yesterday, so they did use their better relievers, but I don't know. I'm not too concerned by that against Detroit's offense. 7.5 being the total here. It's juiced to the over, so you might find an 8 out there. Looks like you can find an 8 at the Lion M book there. Although 7.5, 7 is the key number rather than 8, so as long as you get under 7.5, it might be worth a shot on the under here. But the money's backing the over. 72% of tickets, 92% of the cash on the over. Again, obviously, I don't agree with that. I think this is an under. 78% of tickets on the Yankees. So the Yankees are getting the public money. I think the public thinking Yankees are in a return home spot here. Public still doesn't really put much stock into Casey Mize. Yankees minus 130 something here on the price. Looks somewhat cheap. I think the public will think, well, they're back at home now. They're going to bounce back. I think that's the wrong way to look at it, though. Detroit, 73% of the cash on them. I would still agree with Detroit. I might do it first 5, though, if I was going to go with Detroit there. I would slightly lean to Detroit, money line, first 5, but I think the under is the better approach there. Under kind of correlates to the underdog having value, though, right? Because if the runs are kind of at a premium, that helps the underdog a little bit. Zach, what's up? Did you take the under yesterday? Abreu, yeah, maybe he bet on the over, yeah. Gerald, what's up? Yes, correct. Yes, thank you for reiterating all of my horrible stats recently, yes. Baseball, they have to get rid of the ghost runner, dude. They introduced it during COVID for no reason. It has nothing to do with a virus, even though nothing that was done at all had anything to do with a virus. It wasn't even a lethal virus. Sorry, am I allowed to say that now? I have no idea. I mean, that virus didn't take me out, even though I had it 3 times, and I'm not that healthy. Well, maybe I am. I don't know. And then, yeah, the ghost run, dude, I don't get it. It's supposed to make baseball quicker. Like, if you enjoy the game, why would you want to have less of it? You know what I mean? Like, let's introduce the pitch clock and the ghost runner. Let's make baseball more likable by making it shorter. What? Like, if you like the game, then you want the game to be a little bit longer, right? If you enjoy it. You know, like, that part of the reason, like, for going to the baseball games, you get to hang out in that atmosphere for, you know, that long of a period of time and whatever. And extra innings used to be fun. They're not anymore with the ghost runner. All right, Mets and Toronto. I considered putting this one on my card, although I'm not going to, but I think Toronto's in a good bounce-back spot here. They've lost 6 games in a row, dude. They just got swept in a 4-game series against Texas at home, and now they're staying at home. I know Toronto's not a very strong team this year. Definitely a step down from what they were last year, but you got to think that they're going to show up with some effort here after what's been happening to them recently. And they have a starting pitching advantage here, too. So Toronto should be able to do this. The Mets are coming in off a big weekend series against Philadelphia. So it was a big divisional series. They're starting a road trip, though, off a loss. So starting a road trip, a lot of times it is a focus spot. But again, coming off a close game against Philly yesterday, and it was pretty much a close series, too. So Mets could be in a bit of a hangover after that. Mets have the better bullpen here. They only used 3 guys yesterday. They used Senga out of the bullpen and Myers. I think it was actually a bullpen game for them yesterday, but they didn't use any of their better relievers. So the Mets' high leverage arms are all available in this game, so that should help them. Toronto used 3 guys out of the bullpen, including, I believe, either Varland or Hoffman is their closer right now, I'm pretty sure. So they did use some of their better relievers yesterday. So the Mets have a bullpen advantage. Mets are number 3 in bullpen. Toronto is where are they? They're not that bad. They're 13th. So both bullpens are all right, but the Mets are better, and I think their rest actually is a little bit better too. Toronto's offense has struggled, 22nd, tied with Philly, though. Mets have been even worse, though, 29th. So maybe an under type of series here, but I think Toronto is the way to look in this game. Sean Manaea is supposedly getting the start for the Mets. However, if I was going to play this game, I would not make that assumption. I think the assumption that you can make is that Manaea is going to pitch in this game, but the Mets might put an opener in front of him, So that's the one issue there. Manaea will pitch, I would assume, and he will probably go like a starter's workload here, but he might be behind an opener, so you do have to worry about that a little bit. So we'll see if they do that or not. So if I was going to play this game, I would play Toronto. I would actually go with Toronto first 5 innings because the Mets have the better bullpen, and I would make it Savage must start for Toronto, but don't specify a Mets pitcher. You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure it's either going to be Manaea or Manaea after an opener. And if you want your bet to count, you don't want that to switch on you. You know what I mean? I think Manaea is probably fadeable, though. I mean, he's not really pitching that well here. He's been mostly in the bullpen this year, although he's been okay in some of his starts. But he's got a 4.87 ERA, 1.41 whip. Better on the road, though, 4.33 road ERA. Only went 3 innings last time out against the Cubs, although he did have a few good starts in a row prior to that. He was actually pitching mostly pretty well throughout the month of June, so it hasn't all been bad for him. Not excellent, though. He's got too high of a walk rate still. That's always been kind of an issue with him. His hit rate is also too high here, and his strikeout rate is actually fairly good. So he does still kind of strike guys out, which is at least a decent sign here. I don't think I trust him against Toronto necessarily, although he's held them to a pretty low 232 batting average. They do have a 741 OPS, which is, I know it's still below that 750 threshold, but it's getting close. That's in 56 at-bats against them. 14-2 strikeout walk ratio is pretty good, though. But I think Toronto might be able to score something off of him here, and it might be enough. It should be enough, I think, to get you Savage, to have him, to give him the lead through 5 innings, I should say. Savage is obviously the better of these two pitchers, even though he's still young, but I mean, he's got experience, man. He pitched in the World Series last year. We've seen what he could do over a decent sample at this point. He's got a 3.56 ERA, 1.17 whip this year. However, he is significantly worse at home, though. I don't know why, but 4.73 home ERA. That worries me a little bit. And the other thing that worries me is his walk rate has been crazy high recently. In 3 of his last 5 starts, he's had 5+ walks. That's not good. He's alternating like wildness and control. That does worry me a bit that he's been too wild here. He's got a really low hit rate, but his walk rate is actually really high. He's got to do something about that, man. He's got to stop walking, guys. His strikeout rate is okay. Can he do well against the Mets? Yeah, I mean, the Mets, they're not a great offense here, and he's never faced them before, so that's an advantage to him because when the opposing offense has not seen a pitcher before, they usually struggle a little bit more. So I do like the Blue Jays in this game. First 5, that would be what I would do, but you might have to lay a half run if you do it that way, which I know it's a little bit less enticing because you need them to be winning at that point, but I think they have the ability to do that. You might not need to do that, actually, because Toronto's at minus 120-something on the full game, so the first 5 money line might be like in the minus 130s, so if it is, I think money line could be the way to go there. First 5, Toronto. They're getting the money. 71% of tickets, 93% of the cash on them. So the money seems to agree with Toronto there. I think it is a decent bounce back spot for them too. Full game I don't like as much, again, because I think the Mets bullpen does have an edge here, and I don't think this is not going to be a bullpen game for the Mets. Like, Manaea just needs to stick around for like 4 or 5 innings, which I think he probably will do. The money's also coming in on the under in this game for what that's worth, under the 8.5. I don't have as strong of a read on the total, though. Washington and Boston. Red Sox are staying at home, but they're coming off that sweep of the Yankees. You got to think this is a letdown spot for the Red Sox. I mean, after last night's game, I was thinking, who are the Red Sox playing tomorrow? Because this is like such a fade spot. And by the way, I didn't mention it with the Yankees, but Yankees-Red Sox played the night game. And there's only one Sunday night game, and it's a TV game. It's not ESPN anymore. It's an NBC game. But still, that's a huge game to come off of, and you have a short turnaround time. So it's a bad spot for both the Yankees and the Red Sox. I mean, that's a huge rivalry weekend series coming off the primetime late game with less turnaround time. Red Sox just completed a pretty historic sweep there. They had not swept a 4-game series against the Yankees since, I think, like 2008 or something like that. Is that what I heard? Maybe I'm wrong about that. Whatever it was. Huge deal and hugely dramatic way to win that series too. So I can't play the Red Sox here because the spot is awful. But then I look at the starting pitching and I'm like, dude, that means you want me to back Miles Mikolas here? I don't think I could do that, man. I don't think I can. So I have to leave this game alone because I think the Red Sox have the matchup edge here with the starting pitching and with the bullpen. But the situation is terrible for the Red Sox. So which one of those wins out, the situation or the matchup? I don't know. Baseball's heavily matchup dependent, so I use heavy situations in all the other sports. In baseball, I try to use both, and I weigh the matchups a little bit more heavily. So Red Sox have the better bullpen, like I said. Number 4, Washington is not good at 26, and they have one of the bullpens that has over a 5 ERA. There are 4 of them right now, and they're one of them. Hitting-wise, Washington is way better. They're number 4. Red Sox are 25th, even after doing some offensive damage against the Yankees over the weekend. But Washington's going with Miles Mikolas. Like I said, he's obviously the worst of these two pitchers. His whip isn't that bad, though, at 1.29. His ERA, 5.24. Not great, obviously. He is actually better on the road, 4.66 road ERA, so he's in the better of his home road splits here. He was not great last time out against Philly, and they cut his start short. I don't know what that was. He only went 3 1/3 innings. He didn't allow any earned runs, although he only had 1 strikeout. He hasn't exactly been good. He did have 1 really good start in here this month against Seattle, but other than that, he hasn't really been going deep, or when he does, he's been allowing a lot of runs. So you either get he's out of the game early or he gives up too many runs. He's allowed too many hits. His walk rate is actually good, though. His walk rate is low. His strikeout rate is very low. He doesn't strike anybody out. He does allow a lot of home runs, even though he's not that much of a fly ball pitcher. But the home run rate might be a little bit of an issue in Fenway Park because it is more of a home run ballpark. Boston does have good numbers against him, so I don't think there's any way you can back him here. Red Sox have a 339 average against him, 904 OPS in 56 at-bats, 6-1 strikeout walk ratio. A lot of the damage has come from Wilson Contreras, who has a lot of at-bats against him from being in the National League, and he's been one of the hot bats in the Red Sox lineup over the last few games, so again, you could look at a player prop here with Contreras. I always recommend hits plus runs plus RBIs over. So then if the guy walks, you at least can still get a run out of it or something like that. But he does well against Mikolas. I can't back Mikolas here. And the Red Sox are going with Ronier Suarez. He's obviously the better pitcher here. 2.83 ERA, 1.14 whip. He's not as good in Fenway, though. 3.75 home ERA. Still not bad, though. He's been pitching well over the past month, though. Like in the month of June, yeah, good stuff here. 27-6 strikeout walk ratio, 2 or fewer earned runs allowed in all 4 starts, 5+ innings in all of them. One was at Coors Field, and he had no problem with that. One was against the Yankees. He pitched well there, too, on the road. 3 road starts, though, only 1 home start. The home start was actually a little bit less good against Texas. So, yeah, maybe he is slightly fadeable at home, but I don't think I want to fade him here. He's got a good hit rate. It's low. His walk rate's pretty low as well. Strikeout rate is fairly high, too. Higher than I think you usually get out of him. He's having a good season here, man. Against Washington, you'd think they would have seen a lot of him because he was on Philly, but they only have 45 at-bats against him. He's done really well against them. 156 average allowed, 374 OPS, 14-1 strikeout walk ratio. Only 2 extra base hits, doubles from Cruz and Young. So, yeah, the Red Sox look like they have a pretty significant starting pitching edge here, plus a significant bullpen advantage. But the situation is bad, and the money has come in against the Red Sox. 74% of tickets on them, 66% of the cash on them. Minus 168 or so is the price on the Red Sox here. I think part of the reason why the money's fading them is the situation. Well, definitely that, but part of it is also the number. Like, just thinking the Red Sox are favored by too much here. I don't know, man. I mean, the odds makers are kind of having to do that, though, because the Red Sox do have a pretty clear matchup advantage here. So I can't play this game. I don't want to play on the Red Sox, given how awful the situation is. I don't want to play Washington either, given this matchup here being really disadvantageous to them. So which one is going to win out? I have no idea. As a fan, I got to root for the Red Sox, but Yeah, I mean, I can't play the game, so I have to stay away from it. Just things strongly in conflict with each other. They're the things that I look at. ESPN announcers. The announcers are all terrible. I don't know what to tell you. Announcers are getting worse and worse, and there are some female announcers, I think, on the Red Sox crew now. They are absolutely atrocious. You have to get rid of them. We need to go back to the good days. And dude, it's a man's job. I'm sorry, but like, it's like construction or something like that. Like, men are just better suited to this job. Men know about sports and they know how to talk about sports. Leave it to the dudes, all right? Sorry. Cincinnati at Milwaukee. This is a revenge series for Cincinnati here because Milwaukee just went into Cincinnati and swept them last week prior to the weekend series. Milwaukee's also coming off a close game against the Cubs yesterday where they wound up losing the series to the Cubs in close fashion. So it could be maybe a little bit of a hangover spot, even though Milwaukee's staying at home. The Reds are at least probably going to have motivation here, and maybe Milwaukee overlooks them a little bit here. Reds are going to come in probably with some fire after losing to them in a sweep last time. That was a close series, though. Like, if you look at the game by game, Milwaukee won every game by 2 or fewer runs in that series, so every game was close. So Cincinnati does have the ability to potentially win this game here. I don't want to bank on it, but they will have motivation here. Cincinnati used 4 relief pitchers yesterday, and that's one problem with Cincinnati is their bullpen is bad. Milwaukee used 4 as well. Milwaukee not very rested here, but Milwaukee has the better bullpen. They're ranked 14th, but I think they're better than that. Cincinnati's ranked 28th out of 30. They don't have one of the ERAs that's above 5, but Milwaukee clearly has the better bullpen. Cincinnati's offense hasn't been good recently either. They're 24th. Milwaukee is 10th, tied with Tampa Bay. So Milwaukee has an offensive edge here too. Cincinnati's going with the more proven starting pitcher here, Nick Lodolo, but he has not had a good season, so he's pretty difficult to back here. 5.59 ERA, 1.52 whip. That's not good, although he is actually better on the road. 4.32 road ERA. Cincinnati plays in a hitter-friendly park. He's been better away from there this year, so he might actually match up a little bit better here. He's coming off a 4-inning shutout of Milwaukee, and I don't know what happened in that game. I don't know why he came out after 4 innings, because he could have gone longer than that. He was pitching really well, so I don't know why they took him out. So he might be able to extend that into this game, although Milwaukee just saw him, but they've seen him before, and he actually does have good matchup numbers against Milwaukee. And in that start, he also only allowed 2 hits, had 6 strikeouts and 1 walk, so Lodolo was pretty good in that outing, although he does have a high hit rate on the season. His walk rate is mediocre. His strikeout rate is kind of low. But again, against Milwaukee, he does actually pitch well. He's held them to a 182 batting average of 516 OPS and 66 at bats, 16-4 strikeout walk ratio. So Lodolo does actually have a good matchup here. And he's in the better of his home road splits. And that last game that he was doing well was at home against Milwaukee. So I think Lodolo could actually pitch well here, given what we see in those matchup numbers there. He'll be going up against Robert Gasser, who still I don't really know much about this guy. He's 27. He's been in the league for a couple years. Hasn't really pitched a lot in the majors. He's been okay. 4.5 ERA, 1.27 whip, 3 ERA at home, so he's been better at home in a small sample size here. Pitched really well last time out on the road against Atlanta, although they actually hit worse at home, but that was still a good outing from him. He shut out Cleveland for 5 2/3 the game before that, although Cleveland is very weak. 2 starts before that, he was really good against San Francisco. Also another weak offense, though. So I don't know how much you really take away from this here. He's got a pretty high strikeout rate, so that's not bad. His hit rate is pretty low. His walk rate is not horrible. So I don't know. Overall, he looks like a decent pitcher. And his numbers against Cincinnati here, not a huge sample, although most of their hitters have faced him. 12 at bats, 250 average, 607 OPS, 3-2 strikeout walk ratio. Gasser might actually do pretty well here too. This game might look like an under. I mean, it sounds insane. The total is going to be fairly high here. It's at 9, and the money's hitting the over. 70% of tickets, 93% of the cash on the over. So the money is telling you over. Odds makers are kind of telling you over with the line being at 9, but this could be a first 5 under, dude. I think it could be maybe a sneaky underplay. And that last series at Cincinnati, which is a more hitter-friendly park, those games were all low scoring. So maybe the under is kind of a sneaky way to look at this. Or no, sorry, one of them went over. The last game went over. The other two went way under. And the last game, was it extra innings? No, it was not. The last game, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. The last game had a lot of runs scored late in the game, though. First 5 under makes some sense because Cincinnati's bullpen is awful. So first 5 under, actually, you might get some, there might be some value there looking at a first 5 under in that game. Kind of a sneaky way to look at that game, maybe. I don't think I'd want to risk it, but, those pitchers, backing those 2 pitchers is kind of risky, but that might be a way to look at that game. And they both did well last time out against these same opponents, right? Actually, wait, did Gasser pitch in that series? Oh, no, Gasser didn't pitch in that series. Lodolo did well in that series before they inexplicably took him out. Gasser didn't pitch in that series. All right. Yeah, women can announce ladies volleyball. I mean, I lower the volume and just stare at women's volleyball, so whatever. Although I kind of like to hear them grunting, you know? You know what I mean? San Diego and Chicago Cubs here. Cubs are coming off that big weekend series and returning home from the road, so not a good spot here for the Cubs. They're in New York and then Milwaukee. I know it's a short trip back to Chicago from Milwaukee, but they're coming home still from the road. Bad spot. A lot of times you get distracted, and they just beat Milwaukee the last 2 games, so could be a letdown spot for the Cubs here. Those are big wins. I don't know if I'd want to back San Diego either, though, because they just played a weekend series against the Dodgers, and now they're having to travel across 2 time zones. But they are starting a road trip, so it is still a better spot for San Diego to just get out of home, start the road trip, focus on baseball. But yesterday, close game against the Dodgers for them yesterday. Could be a little bit of a difficult spot for them still. Spot is still worse for the Cubs here, though. Bullpen-wise, San Diego has the better bullpen. They used 3 guys out of their bullpen yesterday. Cubs used a lot. The Cubs used 6. I think they went with a bullpen game yesterday. That's a problem. Cubs have a lot of pitching injuries right now, too. Cubs are 10th in bullpen right now. Not too bad, but San Diego's basically an elite bullpen. They're ranked 7th, but I think they're like the 2nd best bullpen behind Atlanta, and that is where their ERA puts. Oh no, their ERA is 3rd behind Atlanta and the Red Sox, but I think they're the 2nd best bullpen. San Diego's been atrocious offensively, though. They're dead last, 30th. Cubs are 7th, tied with the A's. Cubs have been a good offense most of the season. This is in Wrigley Field, and it's a very high total, so that means the wind is blowing out at Wrigley. The total being at 11.5. That tells you what you need to know, man, or 11 actually here. Even with Imanaga on the mound, the total being 11.5 is just crazy. That's crazy, dude. Imanaga kind of getting disrespected in the market right now, though, but he's had a bunch of issues with the home run ball. It looks like San Diego's undecided with their pitcher right now. Imanaga will pitch. I still like him. I still think he's better than his ERA. Makes him look 4.4 ERA. 1.05 whip is obviously pretty good. He's not putting guys on base at a high rate. He's struggled at home, though. 4.75 home ERA, and the long ball has been really bad for him. He is a fly ball pitcher, but he hasn't had this many issues with home runs before. That's his one issue. He's allowed 20 home runs in 92 innings. I don't know what the deal is with that. His hit rate is really low. His walk rate's low. His strikeout rate is fine. So he's been good, except the home runs have just destroyed his numbers. He's got to stop allowing home runs, man. I don't know what the deal is with that. Yet he didn't allow any when he just pitched at Coors Field. So I don't know. He is pitching a little bit better, although he allowed 3 home runs last time out against the Mets. So I don't know what to tell you, man, even though his command was pretty good in that outing. What do we do with this guy? I honestly don't know at this point. He should have a good matchup here against San Diego, and this is a weak offense. He should be able to deliver a good start here. He's got a 184 batting average against with them, a 659 OPS. Those are low numbers there. 49 at-bats, 14-3 strikeout walk ratio. They've had 3 home runs off him, though, so the home run ball has kind of hurt him against them, too. But his numbers are good against San Diego, and they're not an offense that really takes much advantage of pitchers, so he should pitch well here. San Diego's, although it's a bad spot for the Cubs, though, like I said, San Diego's going with, it looks like they might be going with Griffin Canning. And you guys, made fun of me for saying that Griffin Canning was going to pitch in the last game that he pitched. He did. I told you. He's in their rotation, basically. But a lot of times they put an opener in front of him. So that's something to keep in mind here. He's going to pitch. He's pitched on schedule for like 2 months now. He's been pitching every game when he comes up in the rotation. So he's going to pitch here, even though he sucks. San Diego doesn't have really any other option here. They're going to put an opener in front of him, possibly. So that's what you have to look at with this game. So if you're going to play this game, assume that Canning is going to make like a start here, but they might put an opener in front of him, right? So just like I said with Manaya and the Mets, if I was going to play this game, I would specify Imanaga must start, but don't specify San Diego's pitcher because you know it's going to be either Canning or an opener with Canning coming in behind him. And Canning has been really bad. We got to dig into their roster to even find him because he's not even on their depth chart. He's got a 7.38 ERA, 1.66 whip. He's not a good pitcher. Really bad on the road. So take him away from San Diego's pitcher-friendly environment, and he's really bad. 9.56 road ERA. He was awful last time out at home against Atlanta. They brought him in after an opener. He didn't even last a full inning. He allowed 4 runs, and they took him out. They were like, yeah, that was enough. He's not doing well at all here. He's got a good strikeout rate, though, believe it or not, but his hit rate is high. His walk rate is really high. So he's got some major issues with putting guys on base. Numbers against the Cubs, you pretty much know they're not going to be good. 280 sometimes you can be surprised, but 280 average allowed, 867 OPS. Not good numbers. Maybe not as bad as you would think, but not good. 50 at bats there, 9-4 strikeout walk ratio. So the Cubs are in a bad situational spot here. Both teams somewhat are, though. I think I have to lean towards the Cubs here, though. Like, their pitching matchup, it looks like they have an edge, at least in the first 5. I think I would not go full game here, but if you isolate Imanaga against Canning, I think you should be able to get a win out of that, although I'm not going to give it out as a play, so I don't love it that much at all. But 77% of tickets, 59% of the cash on the Cubs, so the money's fading the Cubs here. Some of it is because of the San Diego bullpen, though, it's like because that's a full game number there. Some of it is that Imanaga hasn't looked good recently. A lot of it is probably the situation, but I see no way that you can back Canning here. Cubs are at minus 150 or so. Cubs first 5 makes some sense to me, but you know what? Because the money's heavily coming in on the over here, the odds makers are telling you there are expected to be runs here. You could go Cubs over their team total here. They might be able to get there. Like if they tee off on Canning and then San Diego has to bring in some of their worst bullpen arms earlier in the game, you know, it kind of negates the bullpen edge they have a little bit there. Cubs over team total makes sense, but I still worry about the return home spot because I think the return home spot can kind of distract the hitting a little bit and cool off the hitting a little bit. So that would still worry me a little bit. But again, the total being at 11, that tells you that Wrigley Field, you got wind blowing out in Wrigley. The wind is a factor in Wrigley, unlike it is in any other stadium because it's right on Lake Michigan. So we're really close to it. So yeah, Cubs over team total might actually be the best way to look at that game. All right, I'm going to be right back. I'll finish off the rest of the board when I get back. Usually I do a few more games and then do it, but I usually do it with 5 games left, and there are 4 baseball teams off today, I think, so maybe 6. I don't know. I know Tampa Bay is one of the teams that's off today, but whatever. I'll be right back, and then I'm going to talk about no WNBA today. Thank God. WNBA, we'll talk about the Cup game tomorrow, but WNBA, they get the half of the week off. All the teams are off except for the Cup game tomorrow. They're all off from Monday through like Thursday or something. And I'll talk about the World Cup as well. I have a World Cup play, actually, so I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. It looks like we have Wimbledon on here, it looks like here. I think this might be live. I think it's live. I have ESPN on. I don't pay much attention to tennis, but Sinner, the number one men's player, is playing right now, and it looks like he lost the first set in this match against Kekmanovic, some Serbian I've never heard of. I have no idea. But, yeah, interesting that Sinner lost the first set, although he's probably going to win the match anyway. He got knocked out of the last Grand Slam tournament, though, which was, what was that? I don't even remember when each one is during the year. Was it the French Open, maybe? I forget. I don't know. Whatever it was, he got knocked out of it, though. All right. And I thought that he had been overtaken, actually. It looks like Sinner is ranked number 1 again, but I thought he got overtaken by Alcaraz, whatever his name is, Alcatraz, the Spanish dude. I don't know. All right, whatever. Minnesota, Houston. Houston is another team returning home from the road. They went to Toronto and Detroit. They had a good road trip. They won both series, including 3 out of 4 in Detroit. Now they're returning home. Again, I will say it's a negative spot when you return home from the road. You got to get back to home life. It can be a distraction, so that should help Minnesota here. Minnesota just beat Colorado, and now they're starting a road trip. So it should be a focus spot for them. Again, another team starting a road trip here. Do I want to back Minnesota here, though? I mean, I would not want to back their bullpen, I'll tell you that much. So if you go with a side here, you don't want to include, like, if you go with Minnesota on the side, you do not want to include their bullpen. Minnesota only used 3 guys out of it yesterday. Their bullpen is awful. Houston used 5. I don't know if I would really trust their bullpen either. Although they've been better. Houston's up to 19th now. Minnesota's been awful. They're 29th, but I think they're the worst bullpen. Their ERA is worse than Kansas City's, and their whip is almost the same. These are both really bad bullpens. I mean, Minnesota and Kansas City are. Houston's is I don't want to say Houston's is even okay, because I still think they're kind of bad, but Minnesota's is, like, disastrously bad. Houston's offense has been a little bit worse recently. They're at 12th, Minnesota 9th. But these teams can definitely hit. However, I kind of like both these starting pitchers in a way. Zebulon is pitching for the Twins. Zebby Matthews, 4.56 ERA, not that good. His whip is not too bad, though, 1.2. He's not been good on the road, though, 7.33 road ERA. So usually you want to back him at home the way things stand right now. Did well last time on the road, though, against Texas. But, of course, a lot of pitchers do well in Texas, but not everyone. So he was good in that start. Most of his good recent starts have been at home, though. Pitched well last time out against the Dodgers, but got no run support and lost that game. He's in pretty good form right now. And then if you look at his overall numbers, hit rate is all right. His walk rate's low. His strikeout rate has gone down, though. Like, he did have a good strikeout rate for a while, but this month his strikeout rate's gone way down. So I don't know what the deal is with that, because he is a decent strikeout pitcher, I thought. So I don't know. I still think he has decent stuff, though. I think maybe he is backable in a spot like this, but he's not good on the road, so that worries me. Houston has a 250 average against him, 688 OPS, and 16 at-bats. The one extra base hit is a home run from Paredes. 2 strikeouts, no walks against Houston there as a whole. The spot does favor Minnesota, though. So, you could be looking at Minnesota first 5 here. I probably wouldn't even disagree with that. Minnesota first 5 if you just want to play on the spot. But Matthews on the road does worry me. Peter Lambert on the other side for Houston, fading him would worry me a little bit too, because he's been pretty good. 3.28 ERA, 1.17 whip. Finally that he's not in Colorado's organization anymore. He's pitching well. He's a little bit worse at home, but not bad. 3.4 home ERA. Wasn't really great last time out on the road against Toronto, but he was pitching well before that. He had like a bunch of good starts in a row prior to that, so that looks like more of a fluke than anything else. He's got a low hit rate here. His walk rate is a little bit too high. His strikeout rate is okay. So overall, he's got all right numbers here. His numbers against Minnesota, they really just haven't seen much of him. Only 2 of their hitters have ever faced him. They're 3 for 6 with a home run and a strikeout and no walks, but all the hits are from Josh Bell. So they have one guy that's done damage against him, but how much weight do you put into that, Plus, I don't think that was this year either, so Lambert is pretty unfamiliar to Minnesota, so I think he could pitch well as well. So I actually think this game might actually be more of a first 5 under. I would not go full game on that because obviously you're looking at some bad bullpens. This Minnesota's bullpen is unbackably bad, like just horrible. And the money is backing the over here, and the total's pretty high at 9. But I said this about one of the other games here. I forget which one, but it could be one of those kind of sneaky first 5 under plays there where I kind of like both starting pitchers a bit there. So first 5 under, I wouldn't really disagree with that there. And first 5 Minnesota. Minnesota does seem to be getting the money. 73% of tickets, 67% of the cash on Houston. They're around minus 130 something here. That would be mostly a situational play though if you did that. But Minnesota first 5, money line, I'm not really going to disagree with it. All right. Miami and Colorado. Colorado is returning home only from a single series road trip to Minnesota, but it is still a road trip return spot. Not the worst road trip return spot because it wasn't a long road trip, but still, maybe they'll be a little bit distracted coming back home. Miami was pretty good for a bit, but they did just lose to St. Louis yesterday after winning the series prior to that. Miami's been playing pretty good baseball recently, though. The last time they lost a win streak, they bounced right back and won against Texas, and they are continuing a road trip here. But going into elevation, I don't know how Miami's going to react to that because Miami plays in a much more pitcher-friendly park, and they're coming off of playing in St. Louis, which is also a much more pitcher-friendly park. Miami only used 1 relief pitcher yesterday, even though I thought they were going with a bullpen game. I don't know what they did yesterday, but they saved their bullpen, and their bullpen is way better than Colorado's. Colorado used 3 guys out of their bullpen, but Miami's got a good bullpen. They're ranked 2nd in whip. They're one of the top several bullpens. Colorado is one of the bottom several. They're one of the 4 that has above a 5 ERA, 27th, not good. By the way, I think his Kansas City Royals are one of the teams that's off today too. Speaking of horrible bullpens, Colorado, they've been good offensively recently. Again, they're number 5 in offense, so they're hitting well. They do have some young, talented hitters there on that team. Miami, not great offensively at 18th, so Colorado probably is the better offense here. But Miami has the better starting pitcher here with Sandy Alcantara, even though, again, he's not what he once was. He's not that ace-caliber pitcher anymore. He's pitching all right this season, though. 4.01 ERA, 1.24 whip, not too bad. Not good on the road, though. 4.97 road ERA. And you have to worry about how he's going to handle Coors Field. He's a little bit of a fly ball pitcher, but not that extreme. So maybe he will do okay here. He hasn't allowed that many home runs this season, so he might do okay in Coors Field. He pitched against Colorado at home, first game of the season way back in March, and he did really well in that outing. Give up no earned runs in 7 innings. He was really good in that one. But this is a different animal, Coors Field. Still, to me, the indicators are that he is still going to probably pitch okay here. His hit rate is right around 1 per inning, which you'd like to see be a little bit lower, but whatever. He's got a pretty low walk rate, but his strikeout rate is way low. So his strikeout stuff just doesn't exist anymore, really. Although he's actually been really good this past month. The month of June, Miami's won all 5 of his starts. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in all of them. And he's faced a couple of good offenses in there, too. He's got at least 6 innings in all of them, too. And 29-6 strikeout walk ratio in 34 2/3 innings, 30 hits allowed. So those numbers are all good. So he is in pretty good form right now. And his numbers against Colorado as a whole are good. 55 at bats, 200 average, allowed 446 OPS, 11-2 strikeout walk ratio, only 1 extra base hit, a double from Goodman, not Saul Goodman, Hunter Goodman. So yeah, Alcantara, it looks like he should pitch all right here. Colorado was undecided for a bit, but it looks like they are going to go with Sean Sullivan here, my guy from Massachusetts, although he has not pitched well. He's really young, so he might turn this thing around, but as of right now, he's not pitching well. 8.25 ERA, 1.92 whip. That's pretty bad. He's been better at home somehow. 5.4 home ERA in Coors Field, but it's a small sample size. You know why? That was because he pitched against the Red Sox at home, and he wasn't even good in that start. He walked 5 guys. The Red Sox just couldn't take advantage of it. So he's not really pitching well at all. He's gone 12 innings so far. Granted, he had to face the A's and the Cubs on the road in his first 2 starts. That was not easy, and he didn't give up any runs against the A's in 3 innings. But overall, he's got 12 innings, 16 hits allowed, 11 runs allowed, and a 7.7 strikeout walk ratio. And he's really fly ball heavy, so that is not good if you're pitching in Coors Field. The Red Sox just are not a good home run hitting team, so yeah, he might be in for it a little bit here, man. I don't know. I don't think I could trust Sullivan here. Numbers do not look too great to me overall, nor does his style of pitching. Like a guy that's a fly ball pitcher, I don't know why Colorado would want him. He does have one advantage, though, which is that Miami's never seen him before, so there is that. And Miami's not exactly a great offense, so he's faced 2 offenses that are much better than Miami and 1 offense that's worse. I don't know what you're going to get out of Sullivan here, but I think probably you got to look towards Miami here. It almost looks too easy because the price is like minus 130 or so here, minus 136 really. Money looks like it's backing Miami along with the public, though. 78% of the tickets, 95% of the cash on Miami. So the money seems to be backing it. The money's also playing the over 11.5 here. I don't think I would do that, though. Don't really know exactly what's going to happen here, but I think Miami might be the better way to play it. I mean, you're still getting Colorado in a return home spot, and a lot of times bad teams don't respond well to a bad spot like that. Like playing a favorite in a spot like that tends to be a good moneymaker in baseball. Like overcome even like the juice that you have to pay on it. Plus, I think you're getting the pitching edge throughout this game. Miami has the better starter and the better bullpen here. So that's the way I look at that game. ESPN Unlimited has Anaheim and Seattle. Seattle is returning home from the road, so another negative spot here. They were in Pittsburgh and Cleveland, so they're returning home from the Eastern time zone. Going back west, I talk about that. It's a big negative. You have to return back to the Pacific Coast. You have to readjust to the Pacific Coast time and play a late night game. It's going to be really late based on your biological clock. That is not doing Seattle any favors here. And Anaheim is staying in the Pacific time zone. Anaheim was just at home, so easier travel spot for them, even though they're having to go up the coast to Seattle. They're staying in the Pacific time zone, so Anaheim has a better situational spot here, and starting a road trip, usually a positive. So it seems like I should be playing Anaheim here. The problem is Seattle has a huge pitching edge here, so that's one of my concerns, and that includes their bullpen. Seattle's bullpen is significantly better. They did use 4 guys out of the bullpen yesterday, but still, they're the better bullpen. Anaheim's bullpen is not good. Anaheim used 3 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. Anaheim is not one of those 5+ ERA bullpens, but they're 24th. They're not great. Seattle is only ranked 17th, but their ERA is better than all these teams near them, which I feel like I keep saying that, but I think Seattle's like a top 10 bullpen. But they're on my bad side. They're on my shit list after they totally blew that under yesterday. The under was going to come through. It's like you got to just rely on Seattle to shut down Cleveland's horrible offense, and Seattle can't even do that. Seattle allowed 5 runs to them in the 8th inning or something. Like, what are you doing, dude? One of the better bullpens in baseball can't hold, one of the worst offenses in baseball to fewer than 5 runs in the 8th inning. Really? Although I think to cash the under, I think they had to allow maybe 1 fewer run than that. But still, the under was going to happen until they completely blew that. Anyway, I'm mad. What are we talking about here? Oh, yeah, the hitting. Seattle has not been hitting well. They've had some offensive injuries, too. They're ranked 26th here right now. They did get Cal Raleigh back, but they got some other guys on the injured list here. Anaheim is 17th, so they've been pretty mediocre. Anaheim hits a lot of home runs, but they don't hit for contact very well. That's basically their hitting style. Anaheim's going with Ryan Johnson, though. I don't really know if you can back this guy, dude. He's got an 8.84 ERA, 7 whip. That would be insane. 1.71 whip. He's only 23, so he might be able to turn this thing around. He might be good, which is why they keep putting him out there, but he hasn't been good so far. He's got an 11.88 road ERA, so he's been really bad on the road. Although he's facing Seattle, which is going to be one of his easier matchups probably, because it's a very hitter-friendly park, and Seattle hasn't been hitting well. Johnson also was really good in his last start at home against Baltimore. He went 6 innings and 1 hit shutout them with 8 strikeouts and 1 walk. So maybe Johnson is better than people think. I mean, that was a really good start, but I don't know how much weight we should put into that because he was really bad until that start. I don't know. Maybe he's starting to figure things out, though, and he's starting to pitch better. No idea. He's really a wild card right now. He's got a high hit rate. His strikeout rate's not that impressive. Walk rate is also not very good. But again, his last outing, really, really, really good stuff in that one, including the 8 strikeouts in 6 innings. So maybe he is good. Just hard to gauge right now. Seattle has basically never seen him, but they have 3 guys who have seen him. They are 2 for 2 against him with a walk and no strikeouts, no extra base hits there. Arozarena and Crawford, I guess, look like they're both back for the Mariners now. Is that true? Because they're at least listed in that. They're at least listed as active here, so they're listed in that setup there. So maybe Seattle is getting healthier on offense now because those guys were both injured for a while too. So I don't know, man. I mean, I don't really want to trust Johnson, but it's possible he pitches well. George Kirby is pitching for Seattle. He's obviously the pitcher that we can. Like, he's the more predictable pitcher, kind of, although he's just kind of unpredictable in of himself, though. Like, he's a little bit of a roller coaster. Like, he'll just have really bad starts kind of randomly. He's got a 3.94 ERA. 1.34 whip is not that good, though. He's been inexplicably worse at home. 4.56 home ERA, even though it's more pitcher-friendly. I don't really get it. We backed him in his last outing at Pittsburgh. It was a good situational spot, I think, to fade Pittsburgh there, and I thought we had a little bit of a pitching edge there. We wound up having Seattle's bullpen did get us that win. So Seattle overcame a 2-1 deficit and won that game because of their bullpen. So, all right, so Seattle's bullpen did get us that win in that game, but I'm not happy right now. Kirby, I mean, his numbers are interesting because his strikeout rate has been pretty good recently. His walk rate's been low. He's got a low walk rate on the season. His strikeout rate's not that good on the season, but it's not awful, really. But his hit rate has been way too high. Like, I don't know what he's doing. I guess throwing too many pitches over the plate. He's just been way too hittable. So that's the problem with him. His numbers against Anaheim are pretty good, though. In 67 at-bats, 194 average allowed, 534 OPS. 25-5 strikeout walk ratio. So Kirby does match up well against Anaheim here. So the problem here is it's a bad spot for Seattle. So it looks like you might want to fade Seattle here. You also get a good price if you want to do that because Seattle's laying minus 200 something here. So Seattle's laying a huge price because they're getting the respect from the market, and the market is telling you, odds makers telling you Seattle has a significant pitching edge in this game. And they're just the better team, which is all true, but that line does seem too high, given that Johnson is capable of pitching well. We just don't really know, you know? So if you want to bank on that, maybe it does make sense to maybe look towards Anaheim on the run line or something and play the situation. But their bullpen is awful, so maybe, I mean, I don't know. If you want to go first 5, Anaheim on the run line and just try that out that way, but I wouldn't do that either, really. Just the only thing you have going for you is the situation. The matchup does favor Seattle here. The total's low at 7.5, so the odds makers are actually still respecting both starting pitchers here, it looks like, which is kind of interesting. Money is hitting the over pretty strongly, but I think this could be a first 5 under at 7.5. I don't think I'd be able to go full game because Anaheim's bullpen is pretty bad, even though you are getting the hook on that at the 7.5. But an under might make some sense in that game, but maybe first 5 only. Dodgers are at the A's. The A's, they're returning home from the road as well, but they stayed on the Pacific Coast. They went to San Francisco, so a really short trip there, but then they went down to Anaheim. Now they're returning home from there. The Dodgers will be traveling up from San Diego. By the way, I was right. I said San Diego yesterday, and I didn't put that on my card. Don't you hate that? Dude, I fucking hate that. I go 0-3, and the first game that I left off my card yesterday was San Diego money line, and they got the win yesterday. I'm so pissed, dude. I don't know. I need to do something different in baseball or something. Even though we've had a good season on the show in baseball so far, but recently it's been really bad, although we've been getting unlucky with some of those too. Dodgers are coming up from San Diego. So both teams are staying on the Pacific Coast here, although the Dodgers are starting a 3rd straight road series, though, so that might catch up to them a little bit. But the A's are returning home from the road, so I don't really love that either, even though they're not having to cross time zones, so that should help them. I looked at the starting pitching. I know it's Gage Jump. I've given out a play, I think, on 4 starts of his now or something, and we're 3-0-1 in those starts. We got a push with him the last time out. But yeah, this one I'm not going to quite get there with it, even though you look at the starting pitching matchup. On the surface, to me, it looks like you do want to back the A's with the starting pitching here. Dodgers did use 4 relief pitchers yesterday, but their bullpen is better than the A's. The A's are pretty bad, even though they only use 2 relief pitchers. I don't want to back this A's bullpen. I would have to avoid it. A's 23rd in bullpen. The Dodgers are 5th. Dodgers ERA is a little bit worse than that, but they're obviously the better bullpen here. Both offenses are very capable. Dodgers are number 1, and they're also really good on the road, and this is a hitter-friendly ballpark, too. So this series might have some overs in it. The A's are number 7 in offense. So you got 2 good offenses in an offensive park, and the total in this game is pretty high. I don't think I want to go over here, though. I know Eric Lauer is pitching for the Dodgers, but he's actually been better with the Dodgers. He was really, really struggling with Toronto. They got rid of him, and with the Dodgers, he's just excited to pitch on a contending team. I don't know, but he's been much better with the Dodgers. Overall, he's got a 4.87 ERA, 1.24 whip on the entire season between those 2 teams. He's been better on the road, believe it or not, 4.13 road ERA. Although this is a road game in the A's stadium, which might not be good for him because Lauer is an extreme fly ball pitcher, and he's allowed 16 home runs this year in 64 2/3 innings, so that's not good. So this might not be the most ideal situation for Lauer here, pitching in a home run conducive ballpark, and he's got home run conducive numbers here. That's not good. He does have a pretty low hit rate on the season, though. His walk rate has been high. His strikeout rate is really low, though. But like I said, with the Dodgers, he's made 5 starts. I don't know why ESPN does this way, but his first start with them was this one against Colorado after he was not pitching for a couple of weeks. He's been good with the Dodgers, though. They've won all 5 of his starts, although he's only picked up a win in 2 of them. His walk rate has still been kind of iffy. His strikeout rate has been low. That's really been the problem. But he's been okay for them. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in all of those starts, 2 or fewer in all but one of them. So, yeah, he's turned it around a bit for sure. But his strikeout rate is still low. Hit rate has been good, though. That's been low. His walk rate's been okay, I guess. Lauer against the A's, not great. 250 average, 794 OPS. Only 16 at bats, but it doesn't look like the greatest matchup for him here, man. The A's have been able to hit him a little bit, and this is that horrible A's stadium, and the way that he pitches, he allows home runs, so that doesn't look good for him. I think Gage Jump does have the advantage in the starting pitching. Jump has been good, man, and we've gone 3-0-1 backing him in first 5 inning plays so far. I'm not going to do it here, even though I still lean that way in this game. Jump has a 2.04 ERA, 0.96 whip. That's pretty good. He's not as good at home, although that's understandable because it's really difficult to pitch in this stadium. 3.71 home ERA is still not bad. He pitched well here last time out against Anaheim. He one-hit them through 7 innings last time here in this stadium. So that wasn't too bad. 7 strikeouts, 3 walks in that outing. Pitched pretty well on the road last time out against San Francisco, although couldn't get us the win with that first 5 play, even though he allowed no runs. He did exactly what we needed him to do, but it was a tied game after 5 innings, so we got to push on that. I'm not happy about that. Jump has been good, though, dude. He's got a strikeout rate right around 1 per inning, low hit rate. Walk rate is pretty low as well. He's good. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in all but 1 start, 2 or fewer in all but 2 of them so far. So I think he should do well, even though he's going up against the best offense in baseball. So I don't want to really, assume that, but he's also got the unfamiliarity advantage here where they've never seen him before. And he's a lefty. His stuff is kind of hard to pick up given what his motion looks like. So, yeah, I think Jump should do okay here. I think he does have the advantage over Lauer, so I would lean that way. The money is all coming in on the A's here. The Dodgers are public. I don't know what's going on with the stupid screen here. I don't see what the money line is on this game. Dodgers will be favored. They're actually only about minus 115, though. It's because it's Lauer on the mound. The Dodgers don't get that much respect with Lauer on the mound. They're about minus 115. But, yeah, it looks way too easy to play the Dodgers here, right? Oh, there it is. It's back around minus 116. 79% of the tickets are on the Dodgers, but 91% of the cash on the A's. So the money's backing the A's. I don't want to do it in a return home spot, but they're at least staying on the Pacific Coast. It might not affect jump specifically that much, so if I was going to play this game, I would still do what I've been doing, and I'd play A's in the first 5 and back jump there. That's what I would do, and avoid their bullpen. You might have to pay a favorite price for them actually there, but it's probably still a decent money line number on that. Money's also back in the under. Total's at 10.5, which is crazy. I think a first 5 under is possible here. The Dodgers have the better bullpen for sure, but I wouldn't trust the A's bullpen. I still don't want to trust Lauer here, though, given how home run conducive he is, but he has pitched better with the Dodgers, so he is in better form here. Maybe he does actually pitch okay here. So first 5 under is not really off the table here, and the money's back in the under, but I think the much better way to play that is still A's first 5. And then San Francisco at Arizona. Arizona's returning home from the road, and they were all the way across the country in the Eastern time zone. They went to St. Louis and then Tampa Bay. So Arizona's returning basically across the country. Not a good spot for Arizona to have to shift time zones, return home for a late night game. People are going to expect they're going to bounce back because, they just lost to Tampa Bay on the road. They'll bounce back now that they're at home against San Francisco, who's a worse team than they are. So I think the public is going to expect Arizona to bounce back. I don't look at it that way. I think the return home spot is negative, even if you did play badly on the road. Problem is, there's no way you can back San Francisco's starting pitcher here, so I'm not playing this game either. It's another situation that doesn't have a pitching matchup that lines up with it. San Francisco's bullpen is rested at least. They only used 1 guy yesterday. Arizona only used 2, though, so they're rested too. I don't love either bullpen. Arizona's ranked 8th, but their ERA puts them in the middle of the pack, so I don't love that. Giants should have a better bullpen than they've been. They're ranked 25th. I think they're better than that, but I think they're kind of a mid-range bullpen as well. So I don't love these bullpens, although they might do well here in a kind of rested situation. Hitting-wise, I don't like either offense. Giants, I know they're ranked 13th, but I keep talking about how they fluked their way up the standings there in the hitting department, and they've been bad for a while now again. This is not a good San Francisco offense. Even though Arizona's a hitter-friendly ballpark, Arizona has not taken advantage of that. They're 27th in hitting. Pretty bad, but they might be able to hit against Tyler Mahle, who he's the guy that I tried to fade when we played Jump last time, and the A's didn't score off of Mahle. I have no idea how, even though Mahle is better at home, and he's not at home here. But I don't think he's that good. He's got a 5.49 ERA, 1.46 whip. Obviously, those are not good numbers. He's been really bad on the road, 8.88 road ERA. So you could definitely fade him here, I think. Even though he did come back from injury and he pitched well in that first start back, unfortunately, we got a push in that game with the A's. Maybe Mahle was just excited coming back from injury. I did point that out as a potential concern there. And Mahle being better at home, but he's not at home anymore, man. He's on the road, and Arizona faced him the last 2 times before he got injured, and he wasn't particularly good in those 2 outings. He was better in the more recent one, kind of, although he walked more guys in that one. But the one that he was worse in was the one on the road, where he gave up 6 runs in 5 innings. Mahle has a pretty high hit rate here. His walk rate's too high as well. Strikeout rate is okay. His numbers against Arizona, let me see. Yeah, I mean, they're not horrible. 233 batting average allowed, 747 OPS is right around average there. 86 at-bats, 18-9 strikeout walk ratio is not that good, though. It's a lot of walks. I would not trust Mahle here, but I don't know if you could trust Eduardo Rodriguez either, and I don't like the spot for Arizona, but Erod here, I think he's worse than his numbers suggest. The advanced analytics guys keep talking about how he pitches to contact, and he's going to do worse at some point. 2.27 ERA, that is definitely going to go up. But his whip is still not that bad at 1.21. So I think, he's not that bad. But he's obviously not what he used to be. I think he's worse than his ERA suggests, but I don't think he's terrible either. He's been good at home, 1.84 home ERA. Pitched well again last time out in St. Louis, shut them out for 6 innings. He's allowed 1 or fewer earned runs in his last 3 starts, but one of them was only a 2 2/3 inning game, and his walk number has been really bad over the last 3 starts. He's got 11 walks in whatever this is, like 16 innings or something. That's not good at all, along with 13 strikeouts. So his walk number has gone way up recently, and he's gotten away with it so far, but that is definitely a concern that his command is starting to falter. He's got a good hit rate on the season. It's low. His walk rate is slightly high, especially because of the recent outings. Strikeout rate is low. He doesn't really strike guys out anymore. I don't know if I'd want to trust him at this point, man. His numbers against the Giants, they're average, a 247 batting average allowed. 761 OPS is on the wrong side of that 750 threshold there. 97 at bats, 27 at 10 strikeout walk ratio, not that good. This game kind of looks like an over to me. I think that might be the better way to look at this game. I know, situationally, maybe you could argue for fading Arizona here. Arizona's getting the money, though. 76% of tickets, 93% of the cash on them, at minus 136 or so here. I would not play Arizona in that spot, even though Erod should have the advantage over Mahle there. And maybe Arizona does have the better bullpen as well. But I think the over is what makes the most sense, and the money does agree. 60% of tickets on the under, 88% of the cash on the over. The total's 9, which is typical pretty much for an Arizona home game. So you're right on that key number 9. Yeah, I think both pitchers could struggle a bit here, and I don't love the bullpens either. So I think an over makes some sense there. What are we talking about? Dodgers won 2 in a row against... Wait, what are you talking... No, they haven't. The Dodgers just lost 2 in a row. What? They lost 2 in a row to San Diego. I don't understand your question. If the A's line is dropping, it's clearly professional money doing it. I don't know. Chasing means that you're coming in too late to the party. Like, chasing means that you're late to that line move. Like, you see a line move that the professionals caused and already hit that line. Chasing means that you're chasing that steam, basically, and you're too late to the party and you're taking a worse number, which is not a great idea. Although what I will say is you got to balance it, because you do kind of want that confirmation that, oh, yes, the professionals agree with me. So I think it's good to see that sometimes. And if you still get a decent number on it, chasing is not always bad, even though you've lost the best number. As long as you're not taking like the worst number and the number is still in that range where it's acceptable. I don't really understand the question, though. The line's dropped towards the A's a little bit. I think that's because professional money is hammering the A's. It's not, the public is clearly playing the Dodgers in that game. The public has no idea who Jump is. They're playing the Dodgers because it's the Dodgers. What? Did I look at that wrong? Wait, what? Hold on. Oh, my mistake. You're right. They did win. My mistake. All right, I feel better about that because I liked San Diego yesterday. I apologize. My mistake. For some reason, I thought San Diego won that series. All right, I'm wrong about that. Yeah, you're correct. I still don't understand the question, though. Well, actually, maybe I do. Yeah, I gave you the answer. The public is playing the Dodgers. The professional money outweighs the public money. The professional money is the respected money. So the books have moved the line where the professionals are putting their money. So the professionals are... that happens in baseball all the time. It's not a sport where the public can possibly outweigh the professional money. It doesn't happen. It only happens in like the high-profile football games, basically. Yes, correct. That's professional money is playing the A's in that game. I'm pretty sure. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Dude, I got to rest my voice, man. This is bad. Really bad. But yes, that's a pros versus Joes game as far as I can tell based on the market there. You have all the Joes are lining up on the Dodgers there. All the pros are taking the A's. That's what it looks like to me. We have no WNBA, thank God. Fuck that. We do have World Cup action here. Couple of afternoon games. The first game at 1 p.m. Eastern is in Houston, Texas. It is Brazil and Japan, and Brazil's only minus 130 on the three-way line here. So they're probably like minus 200 or so on the to advance line, because I talked about this yesterday. When we get to the knockout stage, the three-way line does still allow you to bet the draw, and that means the draw wins if the game goes to penalty kicks, if that makes sense. So you need the game to be tied after the full game gets played, plus I think they play an extra time. I forget. We almost saw it happen yesterday with that awful game with Canada and South Africa there, but Canada scored in stoppage time, so the game did not go into extra time there, so we couldn't see what happens. But I'm pretty sure what happens is they play an extra 30 minutes, and then if it's still tied after that, then it goes to penalty kicks. And I believe the draw hits if it goes to penalty kicks. The draw is less likely in the knockout round, though. So that's what I was about to say earlier when somebody mentioned Saab is playing the draw on some of these games. There's no way I would do that in the knockout round. The draw is less and less likely the more time you play in a match. And if you're playing an extra 30 minutes of match time, yeah, the draw becomes less and less likely. The game becomes more and more likely to become higher scoring. So I don't like that. Both teams are trying to win, too. So I don't like it. I don't like the idea of playing a draw in any of these knockout games. I would not do it. That is just, I don't do soccer much, so that is not my thing at all. I think playing Japan on the win to draw line or win or draw line might be the best approach here, actually. And then I know the draw is, part of your play there. And if it does draw, it does still hit. But I still think that might be the way to play this one, even though I just said don't bet on the draw. But that's just the way you get the best line on Japan here. Because you're probably looking at Japan being about plus 110, maybe if you do it that way on the win-draw line. I think that's what I would do. The public is going to pour in on Brazil here, man. And Japan just played in Texas, and they drew with Sweden, so nobody's going to pay attention to Japan. But I think Japan's a little under the radar, man. I mean, they were able to draw with the Netherlands. I mean, although if you dive into that, as I talked about when I gave out the Netherlands as a play in their next game, the game was misleading. Yes, the Netherlands did win that game statistically, but Japan's not that bad, dude. And I believe they, I don't think they played particularly well against Sweden, so they don't look that good right now. But I think they're under the radar. And Brazil, they get overrated in these World Cups, man, because they're Brazil. But what has Brazil done that's impressive at all? They had a draw with Morocco, and then they beat Haiti and Scotland. Okay, Haiti is awful. One of the worst teams in the entire thing, and Scotland's not that good either. Scotland was only able to beat Haiti, so so I'm not really impressed by what Brazil has done so far. Japan has been more impressive so far in the World Cup. They've played more difficult opponents so far, except for Tunisia. They suck. But, yeah, Japan's had a much more difficult World Cup route so far, and they have the better travel spot here. Brazil is coming in from playing in Miami, although that's not too bad, going from Miami to Texas. But Japan is staying in Texas. So, I like Japan on the win-draw in this one, man. I think Brazil's overrated. Brazil, they're a very young team, I'm pretty sure, so they're kind of inexperienced. So I don't expect them to win the World Cup this year. They could potentially see an early exit here, man. I don't know. But, yeah, Japan, I think, is going to be competitive there. My play is in the next game, though, where I just think this is going to be a mismatch here. I'm going to kind of play off recency bias here. I'm going to give out Germany minus the 1.5 on the spread here. So, yes, that does mean Germany has to win by 2 goals here, but I think they could do this. They're minus 275 on the three-way line here, so they're a pretty significant favorite against Paraguay, who I think is a terrible team. Germany, they played much more difficult competition. I mean, look at Germany's route here. Although they played Curacao, who's the worst team in this whole thing, fine, whatever. They demolished them. But then Germany played Ivory Coast, and they did get a little bit lucky in winning that one. And then, if you remember, I did fade Germany against Ecuador. But remember, Germany had already advanced. So Germany did not have anything to play for in that game against Ecuador. And Ecuador needed points to advance. So the motivation was all on Ecuador in that one. So I think that explains why Germany got outplayed in that game. I don't think that was what Germany really is. And Ecuador and Cote d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, those are both way better opponents than any opponent that Paraguay has played so far. And they're both better than Paraguay. So, yeah, I think people are going to overlook Germany maybe a little bit here because they didn't look good against Ecuador. But I just explained why and why we had the play on Ecuador in that one. Germany, again, they didn't need the game. It was a meaningless game for them. And yes, I know Germany did get lucky against Ivory Coast, but Paraguay is a massive step down from both the Ivory Coast and Ecuador. Paraguay is way worse than both of those teams. Paraguay has not been impressive at all, dude. They lost to the U.S. badly. They had an own goal in that one, too, that helped the U.S. really early in the game. They only managed to beat Turkey 1-0. Although I know Turkey isn't that bad. As I told you, Turkey beat the U.S., and that was a win on the show here as well. 5-1 in World Cup play action so far, man. In World Cup action, I should say. Paraguay was a big underdog in that one, but if you dive into this box score, Paraguay, there's no way they should have won this game. They got red carded halfway through the game, and I have no idea how Turkey didn't win this game. Turkey dominated the game, dude. They outplayed Paraguay 2-0, basically on the expected goals, dominated possession, had more shots, had all the chances in the game. Turkey was the better team, so this is just a misleading result. I have no idea how Turkey didn't win that game, especially with a man advantage for half the game. But I think that says more about Turkey just missing opportunities than it does about Paraguay actually being good. They're not good. And then that showed because Paraguay didn't even score against Australia. Australia is bad. Paraguay, dude, I'm sorry, but they were in a bad group here. With the U.S. being the best of the group there, the U.S. is not that good. So Paraguay has faced less difficult competition here. That 0-0 draw against Australia, I do realize that the draw was fairly likely there because both teams could kind of just play to the draw and both advance, so that is kind of what they did. I think they both just kind of agreed to play to the draw, but I'm not sold on this shit at all with Paraguay. Also, the travel spot is way better for Germany here. Germany just played in New York, in New Jersey, whatever. So Germany's only going from the New York City area up to Foxborough, Mass. Easy travel spot for Germany. Coming off a game where they didn't look good and should be in bounce back mode. Paraguay is coming from California, so they're having to travel across the country and adjust 3 time zones different, which they're probably not that used to. So I think that helps Germany a little bit here too. It's not an early game, which maybe the early game would be worse for Paraguay because it would be like too early. Again, I think the late games are worse. Like when you go from east to west and you have to play a late night game, that's worse. But this still isn't that good, you know? So I like Germany. We're going to take them to win by multiple goals here at plus 105. I think that's the better approach here. Basically, we get the spread bet there, so that's what we're going to do. I think it's a mismatch. And then Netherlands and Morocco is kind of interesting. The Netherlands are only plus 130 on the 3-way line. And I expected the Netherlands to be public because if you look at the World Cup bracket game that I filled out, the Netherlands are getting the majority of the picks there. But I looked at the money, at least based on Action Network. Action Network had Morocco actually being a public side in this game, which is really interesting. This game is in Mexico, and I don't think either team played in Mexico yet during this tournament, so it's a weird travel spot for both teams. Netherlands are coming in from Kansas City, and Morocco is coming in from, I don't even know, East Coast somewhere, I think. Florida, maybe? Atlanta. Yeah, so, you know, it might be a worse spot for Morocco a little bit, having to play a 9 p.m. Eastern game after being in the Eastern time zone, where the Netherlands are in the Central time zone. But whatever, I kind of like the Netherlands here. I think I would probably, if I was going to play this game, I think I would just grab the Netherlands on the 3-way line at plus 130. I think that may be the best approach because they're going to be a little bit too heavy of a favorite on the 2 advanced line. They're probably looking at about minus 170 or so. Although, as I pointed out yesterday, I think the Netherlands are a team that does have a decent advantage if a game goes to penalty kicks. Netherlands have some really good strikers like Van Dijk, so I think the Netherlands would be okay in a penalty shot situation if it comes to that. But Morocco, yeah, I think Morocco might just be a little bit overrated because of what they did in the last World Cup. They made the semifinals in the World Cup 4 years ago, but I told you some of those guys are no longer there, and their coach or manager left like a couple months before the World Cup started here, so I don't know what the deal was with that. So I don't know that I really trust Morocco here. Morocco, they've had kind of an easy path, except that they did have a good 1-1 draw against Brazil, but like I said, it's an inexperienced Brazil team, and then all Morocco did after that is barely beat Scotland, and then they beat Haiti, and they gave up 2 goals to Haiti. That I think helps us out here. If you're going to give up 2 goals to Haiti, although Haiti, was an eliminated team and probably were just playing to try to get some scores there, to redeem themselves a little bit. Morocco probably overlooked them a bit. Morocco's not going to overlook the Netherlands, but still, that's not a good sign that they gave up multiple goals to Haiti, man. So I think the Netherlands might be able to put up some goals here. So, I mean, if you wanted to go like Netherlands over their team total in this one, maybe that makes some sense too. But I don't know. I think the Netherlands on the three-way line, plus 130, seems decent to me there. And I'm kind of surprised that it seems like the public is backing Morocco. But the Netherlands have also had the more difficult opponents here. They had to face Japan and Sweden, and they did beat both of them. Those are both decent teams. Tunisia is not, but the Netherlands were in a little bit of a more difficult group just as a whole because they played two pretty good teams, whereas Morocco only played one in Brazil. So that's what I think about that. Lean Netherlands there. That's going to do it, man. Yeah, two plays today are the Pittsburgh Pirates on the first five money line. I think we get the best edge there with the starting pitching, and it's a situational play. So we'll take Pirates in that one. And then we have Germany in the World Cup on the spread, minus 1.5 there. They should dominate Paraguay, man. Germany's put up a lot of goals. Like, they put up a decent amount of goals so far, although a lot of it was against Curacao. But this is a Germany team that they're still a good offense, so we'll back them here. I think they're a little bit overrated maybe in general, but I don't know. They got a tough draw in the World Cup, though. That's the thing. They have to go up against France fairly early on if the bracket goes the way that it's supposed to. I think they get France like in the next round or something. So very, very difficult for Germany to get past that, but they should win this game, I think, fairly easily. So that's what we're going to do there. I think Germany might just be a little bit overlooked just right now because of what they looked like against Ecuador. But like I said, that game didn't mean anything to them. So it's kind of one of those spots where a lot of times you'll see me play against a team and then I'll be on that team in the next game, you know. Let's have a bounce back day here, man. I forgot to put this up, but I don't even want my record up there. We're ice cold. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Like, subscribe to this channel here. Let's get us some views, man. I mean, this is still a good run. We've still had a good year. Like, we're still going to win on the year here unless something really bad happens. And we've been winning over these last few months, too. So we got to get back to it. I was running around 66%, although I told you that was unsustainable, though. Like, if we're running, like, in the high 50s percentage-wise, that's, like, really good. So we got to get back to it, though, man. Listen on audio, too. Apple, Spotify, Spreaker. That helps me out. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel on YouTube, so you can check that, although my voice is so bad right now. I don't know when I can get back to it. I managed to do one cover the other day, but this is just bad. I'm really not happy, man. As a singer, when you have no voice, I don't know how to take care of my voice that well, though I don't really have that many huge issues with it, but this is just bad. Like, it makes me really sad that I can't sing. Like, I don't know what to do about this right now. Hopefully it's just because of the illnesses that I've had recently, and hopefully it just goes away, but I have no idea. What else do we have to promote? Patreon.com/LearnToToad if you want to throw me support that way. Losercast, we're actually going to do an episode tonight, I think, because of Leighton's schedule. So Tyler is probably not going to be on it again. Losercast 3 straight Mondays, although we had 2 shows 2 weeks ago. So be on the lookout. That should be out soon. That'll be tonight, I mean. So be on the lookout for that. Giants G-Spot podcast, New York Giants will return at some point. And I think that is it. Go check out my appearance on Nephilim Death Squad on Friday, Neph to America. If you didn't see that, that was fun as well. I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything, but we may be doing something more regularly there, let's say. That's going to do it. I appreciate it. Nobody's going to hear this show anyway. Nobody listens to this show. All right, peace.
But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now.